gut microbiome. Okay, what does the gut tie to? Is there stress? Is it aging? What does the gut tie to?
It ties to everything. I mean, so the gut is the first organ that sees the food that you take in, right? So it's really prone to inflammation because of that. Food is inflammatory, even if you're eating a healthy diet. When you put food in your gut, it is forcing the gut to work. And so you do cause some amount of inflammation in the gut no matter what. If you're eating an unhealthy diet and you're overweight or obese, that inflammation gets worse. And what I mean by inflammation is your gut epithelial cells open up and they release something that's in the gut because you have trillions of bacteria in there, the gut microbiome, as you mentioned. Well, the gut microbiome, those bacteria aren't always living. Some of them are dying off constantly. You're making new ones. You're having them dying off. Well, bacteria have something on their outer cell membrane called lipopolysaccharide, or LPS for short. And that gets released in the blood system when you eat a meal. And when that meal is really, really big, more of it gets released. When that meal is high inflammatory, if it's refined sugar, saturated fat, more of that gets released. When that LPS gets into circulation, it activates your immune system and it causes inflammation. That affects the brain. There's studies showing that if you inject LPS into a normal, healthy person or a placebo saline control, they get inflammation in their brain, they get depressive symptoms, they get, their cognitive function is depressed, all coming from the gut, right? LPS is coming from the gut. So it does affect, inflammation in the brain, which then leads to Alzheimer's disease. And then the gut microbiome itself, which was specifically what you're asking about, is also, there's a direct line, there's like neurons actually in the gut. And so there's like this vagal nerve that's connected, from the brain all the way to the gut. And the bacteria in your gut communicate with the brain through this vagus nerve. And so the different types of bacteria also seem to play a role. Like certain types of bacteria in the gut can cause more anxiety. And there's all these studies that have been done in animals where you can take a mouse that's more of an anxious phenotype mouse and take their gut bacteria and transplant it into a mouse that doesn't have anxiety, and you could cause them to have anxiety, right? And then vice versa, you can take bacteria from a really robust stealth, like they don't have that anxiety, and put it into a mouse with anxiety and lower their anxiety. And that all comes down to, there's neurotransmitters that are being stimulated with respect to the types of bacteria in your gut.
How does one find out what they have?
That's an emerging field. So there are a variety of tests that are consumer available out there. I would say that those tests it's hard to know what to do with that data. So you can get a test done and get some data back, and then you might think you need to eat a certain diet or whatever. I would say we're in our infancy of really, truly, accurately being able to do a test at home on the individual level and figure out like what to do with that data. What I will say is that what we do know is that there are certain foods that you can eat that are known to be beneficial to promote the growth of healthy probiotic types of bacteria and decrease the growth of more of the pathogenic type of bacteria.
I know you're a broccoli person, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, broccoli is great. I would say fermentable types of fiber are really good. So those are the types of fiber that are found in mushrooms, like beta-glucans, oats, berries. The skins of fruits are really, really, these are the fermentable, soluble type of fiber. This is
skin of fruits?
Yeah, so like you eat like a blueberry, and it's like in the fiber, the fermentable fiber is in the skin of the fruit.
Got it.
Believe it or not, vegetables are mostly the insoluble type of fiber. That's the kind of fiber that's important for moving stuff through the system. You want to get stuff, out, which is also important. But the fermentable type of fiber is the stuff that's actually viscous, and it's fermented by bacteria. And this actually allows the beneficial type of bacteria, the probiotic type of bacteria, to outcompete some of the pathogenic type of bacteria. So you're having, a better gut microbiome, which is going to basically help you lower inflammation when you eat food, because it helps lower that, the gut from opening up and releasing lipopolysaccharide into your blood system. It's called the postprandial inflammatory response. It's after you eat a meal, inflammation. That's why people feel sleepy after a meal. Inflammation is generated. Inflammation makes you feel sleepy because it's taking energy away from your brain, and it's also increasing these cytokines that make you sleepy. So you want to lower that post-inflammatory response after a meal. So that would be, again, you want to basically have the right types of foods. Exercise also, by the way, helps strengthen the gut so that it's less likely to be what's called leaky gut, right? That permeability of the gut. is another thing to do. Some people can supplement with probiotics. I would say it's kind of flow through. If you supplement with healthy probiotics, the minute you stop supplementing with them, you're going to be back. It doesn't take residence there. It's a flow through effect. So it is having a beneficial effect, but it's a flow through effect because there's really no residential space to occupy. It's kind of like California. There's nowhere to build, right? The bacteria are all there.
It's just like California, there's nowhere to build.
Well, I mean, there's places to build, but
San Diego, there's nowhere to build. Maybe
yes,
on the outskirts of San Diego.
in the
Right.
cities,
Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense.
But what I'm saying is that the real estate it's limited, right? And so there's not a lot of places for that probiotic bacteria.
You can always move to Florida, by the way. And it's a beautiful place here. We love it in Florida. But Dallas is great.
Where do you
don't
go
have
in
to
the
stay
summer?
In California. Here?
You stay
New York, Hamptons.
Okay, yeah.
You go up. You have so many options, and it's easy. 3 hours. So I live 24 in L.A., 5 years in Dallas, and officially I've lived more in Florida than Dallas. We love it in Dallas. And when I was building a national business, what I liked about Dallas was I was a 3-hour flight from anywhere. L.A., it's 6, New York, so it's a mess. And then Florida is also easy. And then in L.A., there's nothing to do to go west. It's just Hawaii. But here, if I go east, the world is east. So if I'm going to go to Europe, if I'm going to go to Germany, Italy, it's this way. There's nothing this way. Okay, so that was a little plug for Florida. If you guys ever think about moving, we love it here. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.